Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This from a guy, he's 48, he is a bachelor, lives in the Midwest, and as far as I know, he's never been married. And recently, as in this last year, he found my channel, as well as other channels with R-Pill content, and has really opened his eyes on a lot of things that he's experienced in his life. Like many of you, even though he hasn't been married, he certainly had his share of relationships. Lots of gals he's been involved with, dating, all that. And all this material has really opened his eyes to things he was missing out on. And in one particular area, the single MOMs. You're going to see he openly admits that back in the day, he would date them because that was pretty darn common. And obviously, there are a share of headaches. However, ever since this material, he's really learned why you should avoid them, how so many of them absolutely are looking for guys to do nothing more than use them, typically for finances and stuff like that. And has definitely had a positive impact in his life. And he's going to get into how a gal that he works with, a single MOM, was trying to do just that. And thankfully, after learning why it's not a good idea to get involved with him, he definitely dodged a big one. Because to no surprise, guess what? She was looking for a guy to obviously pay for things, as many of them do. He does find this out. And I thought it'd be a good one. It's a short story, but a go and making the point, guys, that if you are a guy that's looking for relationships or just simply to date and all that, okay, that's fine. A lot of you do. Best to avoid the single moms for relationships because many of them, even if they're actually decent people, I mean, there are some good ones out there, believe it or not, I've known a few. Still, there's a lot of headaches involved. There really are. And there's also a lot that are just darn right evil. And they're looking to use a guy and they don't care at all. They want a guy to be a babysitter, to pay for things. I can go on and on. I've done plenty of videos on this. And it's best to just avoid them. You know, maybe the only chance you might give one is if she's generally very cool and the kids are adults. Okay, they're out of the house. They have their own lives. And this is for obviously older guys. And even then, you got to be careful. But you don't get in relationships. It can be for someone you hook up with if you do that. Because otherwise, oftentimes, even if they're older, they're trying to use you for your finances and your money. You must be careful. Because you know what? You worked hard for that money. Why should you piss it away? So, he says here, hi SSM. I'm writing to tell you a short story about a recent experience with a woman, and I'll also say thanks to you for what you're doing with your channel. Well, you're welcome, bro, and welcome to the community. I'm a 48-year-old professional in the Midwest, and I first stumbled across what I now know is R-Pill content late last year. Your channel and others like that represent the first time I've heard men talk about the dating world with any sort of comprehension and clarity. Is that amazing? He's 48. He found me a year ago, and at 47, it's the first time I really heard guys talk about this stuff. I received no education on these matters from my father or the rest of the men in my extended family. For the first couple months or so, I was constantly amazed at how many stories rang true for me. Be that a monkey-branching woman or a woman who was using me as leverage and while waiting for a man that she really wanted, or women who seemed interested and then suddenly went silent. I am very grateful I now have the framework to think about these things should I choose to re-engage in the dating world once again. Notice he says, should I choose to re-engage? In other words, he's walked away. And who can blame him? And you know what? You're my age, dude. I'm going to be 48 in a few weeks. Yeah, it's a fucking mess out there. And it is only worsening as time goes on. Another dynamic I appreciate learning and thinking about is the idea of dating a single mother. Here we go. In the past, that was something I pursued pretty regularly without much thought. Smack! Even though you didn't know any better, I'm smacking you anyway. Now I'm highly skeptical of going down that road again. At the moment, I have made a conscious decision to stay away from dating in general. Well, I don't think you can watch this channel and other content creators talking about this stuff without really having that impact you. Or being very, very, careful about who you decide to give your time to. For a bit more context here, about 3 years ago, I moved from a much more populated area of my state to a much less populated area. That sounds good to me. When I first moved, I spent roughly 7 years in a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, and to be blunt, engaging with escorts rather than traditional dating. Well, here's a smack for the sugar baby, sugar daddy thing, because it didn't sound like if you were calling it a relationship, obviously you were paying for her and she was milking you for what it was worth, as opposed to an escort where it's okay, here's X amount of money for an hour and that's that. That's different. Just don't get arrested. But the sugar baby, sugar daddy thing, 7 years, dude, I know why you found my channel. Well, that's how disillusioned I'd become with traditional dating. That's one situation pretty much ended with my move, and while I've engaged with a few escorts since the move, that has slowed considerably to the point of being celibate since this past April. Yes, I guess obviously not as many options for the hookers. Let's call it what it is when you're out in the rural area. Better watch out. Be careful out there. But yeah, you did what a lot of guys do. They're just fed up with how things are, so when they need their needs met on occasion, they go down that path, and just be careful. That's all I'm going to say. I have a story or two from my past I may submit another time, but for now, on to what happened more recently. Okay, now we're getting into his situation with the single MOM and him seeing exactly what I talk about on this channel. Now, by the way, feel free to write in about your experiences. Somebody will benefit from that. Well, I'm self-employed, but much of my work outside my home office is done at one specific location. Many of the employees at this location are women. As you might imagine, over the past 3 or so years, I've had various conversations with these women. Most of the time it's professional, sometimes a bit personal, but not overly personal, and sometimes there's a bit of casual flirting. Be very careful, man. I wouldn't be getting anything about your personal life with anybody I'm a little confused if they work for you or you just do business with a place. You see these people, I'm not quite sure, but even then, keep it professional. Don't get personal about your life. You don't have to be rude, but really. Earlier this year, one of the women in the building started coming on to me. I was not interested in her, partly because I don't find her attractive, and partly because I don't think it's a good idea to get involved with any of the women in the building. Good. Keep that up. But here's the thing. If she was smoking hot and coming on to you, would you still have that policy? I think it's one of those situations where if all is well, would then all be well. But if things went sideways, it would be awkward for more than me and the woman. And of course, as women talk, who knows how that would affect the general goodwill I have built up since moving here. Right, and they do talk. And guess what? You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because this girl likes you and you reject her, you're the bad guy. And she can make up a whole lot of shit that could impact either your job, who you do business with, your standing in the community, or if you get involved with her and it doesn't work out, again, more bullshit. Yeah, it's like the saying, the only way to win is not to play. As to this specific woman, though listening to her talk, I realized she was a single mother. So I was polite to her, but I did not engage beyond surface level. Well, that did not stop her from dropping hints at least a half a dozen times. See, they're relentless. She wasn't pushy as it is an office environment, but I'm old enough to catch her drift all the same time. And I was starting to get a bit annoyed and begin to think I may have been too more direct. But lately she seems to have finally taken the hint. Well, that's good. But I hope she's not talking shit about you. But why am I writing in? Well, within the past week or so, I overheard her talking to someone else about a situation in her life. Not only is she a single mother, but it sounds like she's been recently divorced, probably within the past year or so. And boom, she's on looking for the next guy to take care of things. And she's having money problems. Here we go. Yep. She apparently took a lot of debt as part of her divorce settlement, and is also back in court seeking higher child support. Really? Hearing this immediately made me wonder how much of her interest was me, I'm guessing only a little bit, and how much of it is financial. You've come very far, man, and you don't even realize it. The fact that now you know this, to look for this, and it's connecting the dots compared to you in the past. I'm beginning to make good money, and while I don't tell people how much I make through casual chatting, I do mention some of my travels. That includes 3 trips out of the country in the past few years, with another one booked for next year. So it wouldn't take much for someone to realize I must be doing all right, which I am. See, guys, this is why you don't talk about this shit, And yeah, you're allowed to talk about travel and stuff like that, but somebody smart can connect the dots, It ain't cheap traveling abroad. I mean, well, it depends on where you go and how you go and the accommodations you have, but still. I never would have had these thoughts before. As to this particular woman, I would not have been attracted to her regardless, but when I hear things like that, I can't help but think that all these stories I've listened to about guys getting involved with single mothers, especially those with money trouble, who end up being nothing but a problem for the guy. So, SSM, keep up the good work, and know it is helping average guys like me think about these sorts of things, John. Well, John, I'm glad the channel's helped. I'd like to know what really got you to find this. Did you just pop up one day, me or somebody else, and you thought it was interesting and they connected the dots? I mean, the guys that design the algorithms know what they're freaking doing. I think at the right time you needed this, and me or somebody else appeared. But good, you're making progress. I'm glad. The real test would have been if she was smoking hot and younger and you liked her and all that. But obviously, right then and there you heard. Now, like I said, not everyone is going to be an extreme case that is an absolute train wreck. But the thing is, even the better ones who just, hey, things didn't work out, or the husband passed away, or I don't know what, and even the kids are older, still, you're going to have some baggage and issues, and it's just better to date ones that don't have kids, you know? Or if they do have kids, at least the kids are out of the house. You know, they're young adults and all that. And you find out real quick if they got money problems. And even then, frankly, I leave for friends with benefits, you know? So, bro, keep up the good work. Don't get so personal about your personal life with either of these women. I'm not sure if you have your business in the building or you do business with. I don't know what the hell it is. It's a little vague. But the point is, when it comes to business, the people you deal business with, don't date them. Don't talk about your personal life. Don't be there, listen to all their fucking problems. Be polite, cordial, because be a decent guy. You want to maintain the business relationship, but that is it. And certainly don't date them, okay? You don't shit where you eat. You don't want to fuck up your business because of that. But yes, as you saw right there, many are out looking for a guy, nothing more to take care of their problems. So many stories I've covered on all 3 channels, and so many guys get into this mess, and you think they learned the first time, and they go right back in the same situation. So if this is you guys, if anybody's listening to this, wherever you are today when I'm publishing this or whenever that may be, don't be like this guy. Don't be like those guys, okay? If you're with a girl right now and she's a single mom and she's using it and you know it, end it. Move the hell on, okay? And you got to do relationships. Pick one that doesn't have any kids, okay? For God's sakes. So I'm glad that this helped out. Welcome to the community. A lot of newcomers lately writing in, and that's great. So any of you guys out there that are thinking about telling your story, definitely write in. You know, you'll enjoy it. It'll be therapeutic. A lot of guys say so, but also your story, you're doing a public service by sending in your story, and I get to cover it. It will help guys out there just like this guy here, and the plenty others I've written in over the years. So it's definitely a big help. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, if you'd like to hear more stories from this dude, because he says he has more stories, let him know in the comment section. Or if any of you else have a good story, send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.